Mara rasa nidhi, Jai Mara vancha siddhi, Jai Mara vedera dharama, Jai Mara rasa nidhi, Jai Mara vancha siddhi, Jai Mara vedera dharama, Jai Vrata Jai Tapa, Jai Mara mantra japa, Jai Mara dharma karama, Jai Vrata Jai Tapa, Jai Mara mantra japa, Jai Mara dharma karama, Anukula Havadide, Sepade Hoive Siddhi, Anukula Havidhi, Sepade Hoive Siddhi, Nirakhiva Eduvina Yane, Nirakhiva Eduvina Yane, Serupa Madhuri Rashi, Prana Kuvalaya Shachi, Prafulita Venishi Dine, Serupa Madhuri Rashi, Prana Kuvalaya Shachi, Prafulita Venishi Dine, Tuya darshana hi, Garale jarala dehi, Chirodina tapita divana, Tuya darshana hi, Garale jarala dehi, Chirodina tapita jivana, Ahara pakara raya, Deho more pada chaya, Pakara daya, Deho more pada chaya, Naratama loilo charana, Naratama loilo charana, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Rupa Swami ki. So I sang this song because it's a very dear song of Srila Bhakti Thakur. So today is a very auspicious day, appearance of Srila Bhakti Thakur. So, oh, it's not coming? Okay. So I will quickly show some of the things, cross-section from Srila Bhakti Thakur's life. See, in Padma Purana, there is a prediction that the elevated, pure and learned personality will appear in Purushottama Kshetra and he will spread the glories of Lord Jagannath all over the world. And his activities would be very unique. There is a prediction like that. So when he was a 6 months old child, his mother saw the Rath cart coming. So she picked up the child and went to bow down to the deities and show the child to the deities. When she showed the child to deities, immediately the garland from Jagannath fell and garlanded the child. So Pujaris exclaimed that this child is especially blessed by Jagannath. Bhakti Thakur ki. So Annaprashan is a festival where they keep, 4 things in front of a child. They keep Bhagavatam or some Shastra, and they keep some weapons like, knife or sword or things like that. They also keep some, gold coins for Vaishyas. And then they keep some roti, kapda, makan, all those bodily pleasures they keep. So 4 things they keep and ask the child to crawl from here to there and choose. So depending on which one the child picks up, that shows his varna, psychophysical nature. So what did the child choose? Bimal. His name came to be called as Bimala Prasad. So what did this child, Bimala Prasad, choose? He chose Bhagavatam, not the gold coins. So he discarded gold coins and chose Srimad Bhagavatam. That goes to show his spiritual stature. So once his father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, offered him the Kurma deity for Bhaktivinoda Thakur to worship, because Kurma deity is an indication of stability. Because Kurma gave stability to the Mandara Parvat. You all know that? Below. So he could actually give stability to a huge mountain. Similarly, in our spiritual life also he can give stability. If any of you feel that my spiritual life is in doldrums, we can pray to Kurma Deva. Please make my spiritual life more sturdy and stable. So he gave him that deity when he was a small boy. He was only 7 years old. Yeah. Yeah. So actually, when he was a 7-year-old boy, he remembered the whole Bhagavad Gita, 700 verses. Such a very intelligent child he was. At the age of 22, he left the college and avoided a household life, and he was planning to go ahead for taking sannyas eventually. So, this is about initiation. His father told him, who is father of Bhaktivinoda Thakur? Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur told him that there is one very great devotee, Gaur Krishna Babaji. You should go and get initiated by him. He said, I am your father. I don't want to be your guru. You should accept Gaur Krishna Babaji as your guru. But Gaur Krishna Babaji was a very renounced and very pure and very advanced devotee. He would not give initiation to anybody, but he would always be doing bhajan and practicing. So Bhakti Thakur went to him several times. I heard almost 18 times or so he went to him, repeatedly. But every time he was rejected. Rejected in the sense he wouldn't give anybody, not only him. But afterwards he said, if I don't get initiation from you, I will lay down my life. Then he said, okay, I will ask Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mercy is not something which I can give, only Lord Chaitanya can give. So if he permits, if he gives you his mercy, then I will accept you. So then again he went another time. He said, I forgot to ask him, he said. Then again one more time he went. Come later. So he dissuaded him several times. In this way, yeah. Afterwards he gave him initiation. His name came to be called as Vrishabhanavi. Yeah, Devi Das. Varshabhanavi. Varshabhanavi is actually Radharani. Varshabhanavi Devi Das. Vrishabhanu Nandini is Radharani. So Varshabhanavi Devi Das means he is servant of Sri Radharani. So then when Bhakti Thakur wanted to preach, he went to Mayapur. There is one matha, even today you will see. There he sat in one place and every day chanted 3 lakh names. Anybody else chanted 3 lakh names? Anybody knows? Haridas Thakur. So Bhakti Thakur chanted 3 lakh names every day for 10 years. He chanted. So he was like Haridas Thakur for how many years? 10 years. So while chanting one of the days, it started heavily raining. At that time there was a hut kind of thing. That was also raining. But he thought if I have to repair the hut, my chanting rounds will not get over. So he took umbrella, kept umbrella and continued chanting. He said, unless I complete my rounds, no question of getting up. So sometimes we feel so many important things come to us during chanting, correct? No? You can remember this incident. Just hold an umbrella and continue chanting. Isn't it? So one gentleman had come to Bhaktivinoda Thakur and said that I have a lot of money, but I am looking for some very pure devotee, advanced devotee who can set up a matha in Calcutta so that preaching Krishna consciousness can happen far and wide to thousands of people. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, of course, I have a son, but he wanted actually a Reya Vishnu, powerful personality. But he's not here, he's doing bhajan in Mayapur, isn't it? So this gentleman went to Mayapur. And there, when he went to the Ganga bank, he was passing in the Ganga bank. There he found one personality coming from in those days it was like a forest. So he was raising both his arms and chanting very loudly. Jai Satyanandana Gaur Hari. Either he was chanting Gauranga's name, Nityananda Prabhu's name, he was dancing and rolling on the ground, jumping. I asked, who is this personality? And he came out of that forest pathway and he jumped into the Ganges. So when he asked other people, who is it? They said, this is Bhakti Saraswati Thakur. After chanting 3 lakh names, he's feeling ecstasy like this. So many of us ask, why am I not getting tears in the eyes? Why am I not getting ecstasy? But one has to chant for a prolonged period of time to feel such ecstasy. So he thought that how will this personality start a movement? He is already in another world. How is he going to preach to anybody? Was wondering. So he went back. But after those 10 years, one of the days, Bhakti Thakur had taken sannyas with a danda in his hand. He went and battered the door. So that man opened the door. Bhakti Thakur said, I am ready now. Let us start the movement. Come. He helped me set up a matha. He told me. And that's where he started the Gaudiya Math in 64 places in India. 64 mathas he established. So this is what I was telling you. One time his father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, was called for one sabha. Actually at that time, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was highly respectable. See, you all know Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after he gave this purest of the pure philosophy, he was followed by 6 Goswamis, correct, no? Who are they? Sri Rup Sanatan, Bhatta Raghunath, Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatt, Rasa Raghunath. They were stalwart scholars also. Just like nowadays, if you study in NIT or IIT, you are considered very intelligent. In those days, people would go to, Varanasi and other places and learn Sanskrit. And they'd become very scholars, great scholars. Now, engineering, medicine, and chartered accountants are considered like prestigious professions now. In those days, if you're a Sanskrit scholar, Navadvip and Varanasi were the seat of knowledge. Later on in Chanakya's time, Nalanda University, in Takshashila, that was a very great seat of knowledge. So these 6 Goswamis are deeply learned in Sanskrit, in Persian, in Arabian, in Bengali, in Hindi, and because they were from Karnataka only, they were Saraswati Brahmins. So they knew Kannada, multiple dozen languages they knew, highly learned. But they became followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They very nicely propagated. But following them was Jiva Goswami's 3 Shiksha disciples, very famous, Narottam Das Thakur, Shyamanta Pandit, and who? Srinivas Acharya. Yeah, these 3. But after that, there was a unfortunate time period that followed, that the Vaishnava Vaishnava Samaj became very shrunk after that, because a lot of Apasampradaya people came. 13 Apasampradayas like Jati Gosai, Gauranga Nagari, Saki Beki, this kind of owl bowl. Actually, each of them have a different type of deviation they did. Like owl bowl. Bowl is not a bad name. Bowl means avaduta, pure devotee. But owl bowl people actually would be normal people, but they would pretend like a great advanced devotee. Why they would pretend? Why they would do? To earn cheap popularity of people for that. So they would sing very sweet songs. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur saw that these fellows are singing sweet songs and cheating the masses. Nowadays you find cheaters actually do something very amazing for the public and they attract the masses, correct, no? Like that they were attracting. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote songs like Saragaya Takil, what is that? No? Saragaya Makilati Lakagau Ramilena, that kind of songs he wrote. That type of tune they would also sing. Bhaktivinoda Thakur sang the same song to chastise them. He wrote in the same tune. In that tune only he scolded them. That you are not following Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you are cheaters. You are cheating. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur was very intelligent. He's called the 7th Goswami, after the 6 Goswamis. So between 1500 and say we can say 1600, between 1600 to almost 1800, 1850 or so. So during this period, almost 250 years of period is a very tough period for this Vaishnava Sampradaya. Only there were 2-3 special personalities like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Baladev Vidyabhushan. Other than that, there were all Vaishnavas who were simply wearing, dhoti and angavastra, white and white. They were Babajis. They were not preaching. They were living in dham and just chanting. They thought that world has become very horrible. We will not preach. See, if you don't preach, you won't expand the crowd. Then what happens? The healing cells will reduce and cancer cells will increase. And that's what happened. Therefore, there's a saying, attack is the best form of defense, it is said. So, like Prabhupada, if you see, our Prabhupada, he went to America, somebody will ridicule you if you go to America to preach. They will say, who is going to listen? But in a country like America, he very vigorously preached and made so many devotees. 10,000 devotees he made in his times. 5,000 got initiated. Other 5,000 were waiting in queue. You can imagine. So, therefore, in our Sampradaya, because pure devotees were not preaching, they were only practicing, the Sampradaya became shrunk and shrunk and shrunk like that. Then Bhaktivinoda Thakur saw, he saw the world situation very dangerous. People are degrading like anything. So he is the first person in our Sampradaya after all that Apasampradayas who vigorously preached, and he had like 1,500 Namahatas. Sitting in Godram Dweep in Mayapur, he was also keeping communication with all those centers and expanded preaching very powerfully. If you want to know more about his preaching, you can read a book called as Godruma Kalpatavi. There is a book available in Mayapur. Actually, any of you are a preacher, mentor, you will get very inspired by that book. Very nice ideas are given in that book. How to expand the preaching. So from that book only, His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj made this book called Bhakti Vriksha Manual. Based on that book only. That's the basis. Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Godram Kalptai book. Yeah. So, so after that, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, even although I am preaching, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is a very amazing personality. He was married, he had 10 children, still he wrote 100 books. Can you imagine? Huh? More than 100 books he wrote. And he was a High Court magistrate also. Huh? And he had 1,500 Ramahatas. So how he was like that? Because the sense controlled. His mind was controlled, sense was controlled, pure. And he was a pure devotee, just chanting inoffensively. So then a devotee's power increases manifold to do miraculous things. So then Bhaktivinoda Thakur prayed to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna, give me a ray of Vishnu who will be very powerful and who will really shake up the whole country and establish the philosophy of Lord Chaitanya. And then he got 10 children, and one of them was Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So in this way, one of the occasions, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was invited in assembly. Please come and present about who is a Brahmana. Actually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was in two minds whether to go or not, because he has to tell the truth. Who is the Brahmana, who is the Vaishnava? And Vaishnava is greater than a Brahmana. Brahmananam sahasrebhyo satrayaji vishishyate satrayaji sahasrebhyo sarva vedanta paragah sarva vedanta vidkotya Vishnu bhakto vishishyate Vishnu bhakta Vishnu bhakta sahasrebhyo ekakyekyo anantataha. He says, amongst the Brahmanas, there are many Brahmanas who just take part in yajna and say only swaha. They only know one word, only swaha. But the other Brahmanas who lead the yajnas, who chant the Vedic mantras continuously. But amongst those who chant the Vedic mantras, many of them don't know the meaning. Those who know the meaning, they are greater. Among those who know the meaning, those who know the Vedanta Sutra, and they are followers of Vedanta Sutra, they are even more greater. Apply Vedanta in their life. But among the Vedantic followers, those who are Vaishnavas, Vishnu Bhakta, they are the greatest, he says. And amongst the Vishnu Bhaktas, Ananya Bhakta, or a Shuddha Bhakta, Kevala Bhakta, he is the greatest of the great. So, it says like that. Therefore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur wanted to establish this, but his health was not very good. In the pretext of health not being good, he sent his son. Who? Bhaktivinoda Thakur to Mayapur, a place called Mayapur. So, he went there, and then the Brahmanas, big assembly had come. He said, Brahmanas wanted to see the Brahmana is the greatest. That's what they wanted him to establish. So on the stage, he glorified Brahmana, and everybody clapped hands and said, Sadhu, Sadhu. Sadhu means Sabash, Sabash. Everybody said. So first, 1/3 of the seminar was on how Brahmanas are the greatest. Then the second 1/3 was Vaishnavas. Who are the Vaishnavas? And how are the Vaishnavas far superior to Brahmana? And then the third part was, son of a Brahmana is not a Brahmana. Son of a doctor is not a doctor. Son of a lawyer is not a lawyer. Son of an engineer is not a engineer. You have to come to NIT and qualify. Then you become engineer. Otherwise, you don't just become engineer at home. Just because stethoscope of your father you pick and wear it, you don't become a doctor. So when he gave a presentation like this, all the Brahmanas' jaws dropped. They were shocked. Hey, we called him to glorify Brahmanas, and the seminar is going in another direction. At the same time, many others understood, true Brahmanas, true Vaishnavas, they understood. Everybody broke into the stage to catch the lotus feet of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and they wanted to take the dust of his lotus feet on their head. The police people found it very difficult to control. Police people said, all of you, wait. They took the sticks and stopped all the people, wait. So they put Bhaktivinoda Thakur's lotus feet in a bucket of water. And then they sprinkled water over all of them. Now you all got the mercy. Don't disturb. Don't create commotion, they said. So in this way, he became very popular too through that incident. And he also defeated all the Jati Gosai, the people who claimed to be born of Gosai caste, Goswami caste. They said, we are born in Goswami caste, so we are very, great like this. Yeah. At that time, not only Jati Gosai, the Saki Beki, Aul Baul, Gauranga Nagari, these are all different categories of Apasampradaya people. And also, it was also the time of Ramakrishna and Vivekananda time. Ramakrishna said, Yato mat tato pat. You can follow any path, ultimately all paths lead to same goal. This type of philosophy. There was Brahmoism. There was also Brahma Samaj they call it, Arya Samaj. Arya Samaj people say we accept the Vedas and the Yajna, but they don't accept the Murti Puja. Similarly, there is a Brahma Samaj and this kind of Yatomat Tatopat. All these people were present. So Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur really solid arguments he would give from the Shastra based on Tattva and published Sajjan Toshini in the magazine he would publish. And magazine was coming every day, can you imagine? One fellow asked him, Swamiji, how is it that every day you can publish a magazine? He said, I can publish one magazine every minute, he said. Only you don't have time to read. Therefore, I'm publishing once in a day, he said. So, he published continuous magazines. At that time, when Bhaktivedanta Thakur was holding the matha, every day 2 bullock carts of letters will come to him. The post office people got fed up. They said, only for you, you have to open a special post office. So they would write so many letters and he would dictate, and then his disciples would note down and write. Again, so many letters had to be sent back also by them. Such kinds of... and also when you go in the train, in every station there will be 1,000 people to receive him. The train would stop, he would stand at the door of the train and he would give a lecture. People would hear that one short lecture and go. He was so popular in his times. And also, in his matha, he said this matha is not for people who just come and do bhajan and go. This matha is for heart transformation, changing the people's heart. So he said, bring nice sofa sets and chairs. He arranged in the temple hall and he called the Viceroy. And all Viceroy's associates and men and friends, they came. They all came in their coat, boot, suit, tie and tip-top dress. And they would come and sit in those chairs. And Bhaktivedanta Thakur would give lecture because it is unheard of in any Vedic temple that you put a chair in front of God and you sit and hear. Enter in seminar halls you put. So even in temple hall, he had chairs for the Viceroy and other people to sit because those guys are not used to sitting on the ground like Indians sit. So he would speak in such Victorian English that even they had to bring their dictionaries to check what did he speak. The words that he would use, if you read his articles, you will see. He spoke such amazing Victorian English. British people felt we can learn from him. That kind of lectures he was giving on philosophy, very profound. So, yeah. Similarly, he also preached to King of Kuch in Bihar. The king became his follower also. Bardwan, that's the name of the place, King of Bardwan. See, he started Gaudiya mission even in the midst of the World War, correct, na? Even at that time, he Ultadanga Road, our Prabhupada met him. This is a picture of official Prabhupada meeting his Guru, Bhaktivedanta Thakur. You see, he went with his friend Naren and he heard him. And Abhay Babu, he said, my Lord, he speaks so much clarity, so much purity. On the way back, he said, I am very happy that the message of Lord Chaitanya is in the right hands, he said. And then he also said, on that day, I gave my heart to him. I accepted him as my spiritual master. Like that he said. Yeah. So he defeated Babaji's and where he took sannyas. So there are many things I will not tell you further. Here this is a lecture by His Holiness Bhakti, His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj about Bhaktivedanta Thakur's appearance. You can see only the bold letters I have shown you here. He's saying he was a great innovator, seeing the way he conducted his missionary activities. How he is a great innovator? For example, one time in Bengal, he had collected a lot of funds from people and then made diorama shows. You know diorama? Diorama means dolls. The dolls he made Chaitanya Leela, Krishna Leela, Ram Leela. All these Leelas and hundreds of dolls he had arranged in a pandal. Huge pandal and all the sides, thousands and thousands of people came to see those dioramas. And he had arranged pathways to go. So he was telling Bhaktivedanta Thakur that at that time India had not attained freedom. Subhash Chandra Bose would come to meet Bhaktivedanta Thakur. They were friends. He would say that, hey, you are making all these boys into brahmacharis. Give them, let them join INA, Indian National Army, and help me in the freedom struggle. So Bhaktivedanta Thakur would laugh and say, no, my boys are all very thin fellows. They are very brahmanas. They are only fit for shastric study. They are not fit for joining your army. You go and catch other fellows. He would tell them. So, Many people actually wanted the money that he collected for various purposes like just food distribution, clothes distribution, everything. But Bhakti Thakur was a revolutionary Acharya. He said, unless people's hearts are purified, any amount of food you give, they will eat food and become plumpy and they will commit sinful activities. And even if you give Netradan, a blind man will get the eyes and he'll be watching pornography. So unless the heart is cleansed, you cannot help a living entity in any way by giving food or cloth or Netradan or anything like that. He said, a pujari ringing a bell in a temple, that is far superior to feeding 10,000 people, he said. That was his confidence and Shraddha and faith in Krishna. So therefore, he said all these dharma shows are meant for awakening the love for Krishna in the hearts of the conditioned souls. So, and it exactly happened after people saw those dharmas and everything. They came to the Mata, chanted holy name and became initiated, and all over India, thousands and thousands of disciples he had. So in this way, he taught both Pancharatrika Marga and Bhagavat Marga, Bhakti Thakur. So one of his disciples was so surrendered, he handed over all the life savings to Guru and said, Guru Maharaj, whatever crores of rupees I have saved, I have built a big matha for you. It's called the Bagh Bazaar Mat. He built it and said, and I have no other place. Even whatever place he was living, he sold it all out. Everything is sold out. All the bank balance he emptied and made this temple and said, Maharaj, if you allow me one corner of the temple, I can also live. That was the surrender of the disciple to the Guru, completely surrendered. So Bhakti Thakur thanked him and they moved from the old Matha to the new temple. At that time, he came to know that all the Bagh Bazar Mat devotees who occupied the temple, brahmacharis and all, they were actually fighting for the rooms. They said, I want this Ganga facing room. I want that room, bigger room. You take the smaller room like that. So Bhakti Thakur gave a class that was scolding the devotees. He said, there is fire in the mud. He said, why fire in the mud? If people are running here and there for eating Mahaprasad, and if they are occupying the rooms, my room, your room, and they are not going out preaching and distributing spiritual literature, they will simply eat, sleep and fall down. So he scolded. Then that is the time in the Radhakund that he told to our Srila Prabhupada, if you ever get money, print books. He even said in Bagh Bazaar, let us better take away all the marbles and sell it in the market and make money, and with that money print books and distribute, he said. So our devotees should be missionary people, not become like missionary. Missionary means sitting in one place. Missionary means you go out. Let them not be like dead machines. Let them be spirited missionaries. So let them not be attached to power and prestige and money and facility. So he's strong. This is one of his strong preachings. Practice purely and preach purely. The path of Shuddha Bhakti. So a big temple can attract people, but we have to give pure devotion when people come. It's very important. So he did uncompromising preaching. Krishna is God, all others are his parts and parcels. Very nicely he preached. So in this way, there are many teachings. I'm just going to summarize now. Some of his teachings, you all can see it here. Bhakti Thakur's teachings. Don't try to become enjoyer. Become servant of Krishna. We are not meant to enjoy Krishna. We are meant to be enjoyed by Krishna. What is the meaning of not enjoy Krishna? Like a boy goes to the temple and says, oh God, please pass me in the exams. Okay, God passes in the exam. Oh God, please give me a job. All my friends are all placed. I am not yet placed. Give me placement. Okay, God gave you placement. Then he goes to temple and says, oh God, please give me promotion. Okay, promotion bhi aa gaya. Oh God, now I am 32 years. I am not married. Please arrange a girl for me. Okay, marriage also is there. Oh God, 5 years are over after marriage. No child. Please give me a child. And child also comes. Then 15 years he won't go to temple. God is wondering, kidhar gaya abhi? Now he's gone now. Then he will go to God and say, oh God, now give my son engineering seat. Oh God, please pass him in the exam. Oh God, please give him a job. Oh God, please give him promotion. Correct, no? So this is called as enjoying Krishna or exploiting Krishna. So Bhakti Thakur very strongly condemned it. He said, hey, God is not for you. God is not an order supplier. You give order and he will supply you. Don't make God like that. God actually gives food even to atheistic people also. What to speak of you? So God is already giving you everything you want. But go to the temple to awaken love for Him. Learn to love Him the way Sudama loved Krishna, Hanuman loved Rama. Like that we should learn to develop love. That's what He taught. So topmost way of serving Krishna is to serve His devotees. Don't try to see Krishna. Serve Him in such a way that He will want to serve you. For example, one school boy in his 7th standard asked his teacher, Madam, can I go into principal's room? I want to talk to him. He said, Madam, hey, how can you enter principal's room? He's a big man. Even teachers cannot enter his room. No, you cannot see him. Whatever you want, you tell me. Don't go to him, she said. So the boy went to 8th, 9th, 10th. The 10th standard, the boy got state first. Immediately the principal told the teachers, send the boy. Who is that boy in my school? Who got state first? And the boy jumped and ran to the principal's room. He always longed to see the principal. Now he could see him eye to eye. So how he could see him? He acted in such a way that the principal wanted to see him. Correct, no? Similarly, in India also, there was one Anna Hazare. You all know that? He acted against, anti-corruption he did. Very old man, but still he is called as the second Gandhi of India. So he was deadly against corruption. So much so that Prime Minister of India took a helicopter and went to his house to see him. So you become such a citizen in the country, do great good to the country that even PM wants to come to your house and see you. So on the other hand, if you want to see PM, is it easy? It's difficult. When PM want to see you, is it easy? Yes. That's what Bhakti Thakur said. You serve Krishna in such a way that Krishna will come running to see you. That means you chant Hare Krishna with such sincerity. Krishna comes running. Who is this devotee chanting so nicely? Let me go and see. Not that you chant so pathetically, Krishna will run away from there. Isn't it? So, in this way, that's what he taught. Yeah. He was always very, very humble. He said, I feel like a wretched, sinful dog sitting on Vyasasan. You are all my Prabhus. Radharani and my spiritual master have sent me as a representative to train you and teach you how to love God. He said. So and Bhakti Thakur said, real Kirtan means when the singer has no ambition for name, fame or recognition. Chanting lakhs of names gives no pleasure to Krishna without humble service attitude. So he wrote an essay called Humbler Than a Blade of Grass. He wrote that. So, yeah. He used to say, Ekaschandra tamohanti nachitara sashisha. If I have one disciple who becomes a pure devotee of Krishna, my life is successful, he said. And who was that one devotee he got special? Srila Prabhupada. But he had many, many pure devotee disciples, like Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. Very, very powerful disciples he had. Powerful sannyasis, who are even now also, they are preaching, some other followers. But amongst them, our Prabhupada was very, very special because he took his guru's teachings to Western world on a very large scale. You all have to go back to college also in the afternoon. I will stop here. So he says here, love and trust can be there only when Krishna is the center. If anything else comes between us, we will become potential enemies. Like for example, between two machine parts which are upgrading and heat is produced, sparks are produced. But if you put some lubricating oil, there is no sound and there is no heat. Correct, no? Similarly, between devotees, there should be love and trust. That's one of his teachings also. So the song which I sang, Shri Rupa Manjaripada, was one of his favorite songs. Therefore I sang that song. Yeah. Yes. And then I will show purpose of temple. This if you see, you will see. Okay, we'll do this one thing and we'll end. Please, somebody can read this. In the mic.
Purpose of our temple by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada from Amrita Vani 18.6.17. The Mathas temple were not established to favor ordinary people but to help pure devotees advance in spiritual life. We serve Lord Gauranga simply by performing Sri Krishna Sankirtana. The Bhagavatam verse Yajna Sankirtana Paraya Yajantihi Somedisa supports this idea. The example set by Sri Krishna's Gaura pastime is the only auspicious way to perform for the jivas.
Way to perfection for the jivas. Yeah.
The mathas have not been established to please bhogis or tyagis, injure or renunciate. They have been established to preach pure devotional service. We receive blessings as we serve Hari by establishing mathas.
Yeah. Actually, matas are not meant for sense gratifiers. Just eat, sleep, and waste your life, human life, not for the bogies. And tyagis means sometimes in temples you find somebody wears this bhagava kapda, saffron kapda, and sitting outside and collecting coins. You've seen that in some temples. And they become like parasites on society. They don't do any good. They don't study the Shastra. They don't preach the Shastra. They don't work hard. Our Srila Prabhupada also says, from morning 5 a.m. to night 10 a.m., our ISKCON devotees should be super busy all day. 1 minute should not go in waste. So, and it is a fact actually. In ISKCON temples, you will see morning 4:30 to 9:30, you all know how the program is. Correct, no? And then we have Brahmachari class in the afternoon. Daytime, we are preparing PowerPoints. We are studying the Shastra. And we are also worshipping the deities. We are cleaning the temple. We are washing the clothes. And we are also preparing for the lectures. And we go on Harinam Sankirtan outdoor. And also in the evening, some preaching programs. And many times we have camps which last for several days in a row, correct, no? Sometimes Utkarsh camp, we have 2 full weeks, morning to night, we have super engagement like that. So, devotees means we should go from one Krishna conscious activity to another without wasting one moment in between for sense gratification. So that's what he also wanted. Yeah, go ahead.
Our intention is not to collect 1 or 2 rupees to benefit the matha. We should not be eager to take help from unscrupulous people.
Unscrupulous people.
Rather, if we can benefit anyone by speaking the bold truth, then the matha's purpose is served.
Yeah, sometimes you collect money from donors and you are afraid to tell them the truth. Because if I tell the truth, they may not donate. So he says it's useless to collect money and pamper the people. Instead, you speak the truth, and even if you have no money, no problem. That was his policy. Yeah.
People will often play tricks on us. We should consider such tricks as the Lord's test. It is difficult to cross beyond insurmountable Maya unless we are greatly fortunate. Mayavadis and Bhogis are both conditioned souls. By the mercy of Krishna's duty, person who surrender to Hari can discriminate between good and bad, right and wrong. Know for certain that being drawn by that enjoying spirit, many
Yeah.
people cannot realize the absolute truth.
Yeah, enjoying spirit. Actually, Bhogis want to enjoy this world. Mayavadis want to enjoy the Brahma Jyoti with relaxing. And both don't want to serve Krishna. Bhogis are called exploiters. Mayavadis are called escapists. So who is correct? Escapist is correct or exploiter is correct? Both are wrong. Like there was a Jamindar, he had one servant, So whenever the Jamindar would be in the house, the servant will be away. And he would call him, hey, where are you? I don't find you. He will not come at all because he was an escapist, kamchor. He will not do the service. And when Jamindar would be out, this fellow will come in the house. And he would loot the gold, silver, diamond, whatever is lootable, he will loot like that. So that time he becomes an exploiter. So exploiter means one who loots, escapist means one who doesn't want to serve. So Mayavadis don't want to serve, they want to relax in Brahma Jyoti. And Bhogis want to enjoy the material world as sense gratifiers. So both are condemned here. But Bhakti means you are neither Bhogi nor Tyagi, you are a Bhakta, means you take everything and use it in. You take the whole world and put a tulasi and offer to Krishna's lotus feet. That's all. You have nothing to own on your own. Everything belongs to Krishna. So not for our comfort. It is more intelligent to create a living matha rather than to build a matha for comfortable living. See how beautifully he says. It is more intelligent to create a living matha, he says, rather than to build a matha for living. What is the difference between the two? What is the living matha and matha for living? What is the difference? Pranachayar say hetu prachar. He says that the boy who has got life is one who preaches. If you are going out preaching and bringing new people to Krishna consciousness, or if you are going out distributing Prabhupada books, that means you have life. If somebody is staying within 4 walls, today's prasadam is over, and today's sleep is over, aaj ke aaram ki jai, then such a person is actually, then it is like a matha for living. You want matha for living or living matha? Living matha, that's what he says. Creating a living mata means to attract faithful persons to surrender at the lotus feet of spiritual master. The highest welfare activity is to attract living entities to serve spiritual master's lotus feet by describing to them a spiritual master's glories and service. For this we spend gallons of blood. Such preaching will please both Guru and Krishna. Therefore, to dedicate body, mind and speech to such philanthropic activities is the perfection of life. True philanthropic activity means spiritual preaching. A mata surcharged with talk of Krishna's glories and service is non-different from Vaikuntha. Thus, living in a mata is just like living in a dham. Harikatha must be prominent in the mata. There is no use in building a mata simply to facilitate eating and sleeping. Matas should be, see, in the early days, in 2001, I had coined a name called Bhaktivedanta Academy for Culture and Education, BASE, like that. Within 3 years, I found in Pune, we had this thing from 1996 itself, but we didn't give a name. 2001, we gave the name. Within 3-4 years, I found that all over India, many people started bases. But according to them, base means what? A place where you get prasadam and you can go to office. Just stay. You can, early morning, they would get up at 6 o'clock or something, take a bath and then chant some rounds and then take prasadam, go to office and come back in the evening and go to sleep at night. Just stay with devotees and you get prasadam, that's all. Actually, the base was not meant for that purpose. What is the base meant for? Base means morning standards means 4:30 everybody should be there. Mangalarti, Narsingarti, Tulsiarti, chanting Hare Krishna, hearing a class, then go to the company or whatever. Evening you come back and everybody goes out preaching, distributing books, doing Harinam Sankirtan. It's a very living place, it is vibrant place it's supposed to be. I was shocked. Many people are imitating the name base, but they are not following standard. Immediately we changed the name. From base we made it voice. Now one boy was asking me, Prabhu, we also have a voice center. We are teaching your courses and everything. Only thing is we don't want to have any Hare Krishna Mahamantra writing for those who are coming late in the morning. We don't want any punishment. We have decided not to give any punishment. Then I said, then don't call it voice, call it noise. Because we should have standard. Otherwise, what is the use? Simply having a mata for eating and sleeping is good for nothing. It should be a vibrant place. And also all of us should know this body will not last for a very long time. The human body is, it's going on changing gradually. From childhood to boyhood to youth to old age and eventually, one day we'll be kicked out of this body. We can't stay here forever. This body is like a rented property for us. You pay rent, after 11 months you'll be kicked out. Correct, no? So anyway, we have to leave the body. Life is short, time is precious. And while in the body, we have to have life in preaching and expanding preaching. That's what he also says here. So therefore, we call it as Vedic Voices for Inspiration, Culture, Education, which is meant for spreading this spiritual inspiration, culture and education. For that purpose only, we wish to see this movement everywhere, wherever. Actually, Srila Prabhupada's desire was also, that is the reason why Prabhupada made a separate mata as ISKCON. Otherwise, why not, Gaudiya Mat. People ask why Prabhupada didn't continue Gaudiya Mat. Because Gaudiya Mat was becoming more or less Bengalis. And then here, how many of the Bengalis here raise hand? Maybe handful, I think. There is only 1 or 2, you see. How many of you speak Kannada here? Yeah. How many of you speak Uttar Pradesh or North Indian? Of North? See. How many of you from West India? Or East India? South India? So we have North, East, West, South, everyone we have in ISKCON. This is what Prabhupada wanted to give it to everybody, not only to Bengalis. Right now, if you go to Gaudiya Mat, you find some Bengali sannyasis and Bengali widows. Only you find that. But you don't find many other people from different denominations. Because they were not preaching. Prabhupada wanted us to preach. Actually, for us, preaching should be like daily prasadam. Now it's 1:15, time for prasadam now. You have to take prasad now. You'll be hungry now. Because the fasting till noon today. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Bhakti Thakur ki. Okay, this last one you see, this is by verse by Bhakti Thakur. All of you repeat this. London ete chatravas karibo chao. Paripati ate haya se kata bujao. In London, you want to make a hostel for travelers. You explain that it must be organized in a first-class manner. So that was the desire of Bhakti Thakur. He wanted a student center near every university. Mleche deshe Chatravasa Hari Katha Tare. ये सब अमर मेरा कथा के भुजते परे. She's saying, in the land of meat-eating barbarians, the student halls were preaching Harikatha. Who can possibly comprehend the significance of these things? Like that Prabhupada writes in Vaishishthashtaka. He says, and Prabhupada actually made it happen. So following in the footsteps of Bhakti Thakur only, we also go college to college, establishing a Chatravas. Chatravas is a voice center where people can stay, people can take prasad, people can distribute spiritual books, people can preach Krishna consciousness, they can do Harinam in this way, reach out the sublime message of Lord Chaitanya to hundreds and thousands of youths. Srila Prabhupada ki. Thank you very much. Have you sir? This one is written by our Prabhupada. Actually, Bhakti Thakur said this, and that is repeated by our Prabhupada. Actually, originally the Chatravas word was spoken by Bhakti Thakur. He desired that let there be a student hostel in London near the universities. That was whose desire? He said, the college is building a hostel and giving them mundane education. Let us build a Chatravas and give them spiritual education, side by side along with their mundane education. That was his desire. So his desire is becoming more and more fulfilled now, in modern times. Mahaprasad ki, getting late for you.